Hi, my little sinners and saints. Today we're going to talk about Jeffrey McDonald, and this is going to be a long one. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and come in back. Share the screen. I don't know where I'm really sharing to, but here we go. Here we go, people. I want to go. There we go. Flipping around. Okay, here we go. Well, let's go show you my cup real quick. Too close. It says Dr. Benavides, and then it's got the little loading thing on it. Doesn't I'm not a doctor yet, but I'm gonna be. Okay, here we go. Shout out to Matthew. Thank you. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I hope you enjoy it, and like, subscribe, comment, complain, rebuttal, all the good stuff. Should be a picture there. Okay. They're so fuzzy. Okay, this is Jeffery McDonald. Okay, I've got notes, and I have 369 pages alone of other notes on the computer, plus a couple websites. So we'll probably take a break halfway through this, and then we'll start it again. So if you can just bear with me, I'll try to make this less painful than possible. This is kind of like death by PowerPoint. Anyway, this is Jeffery McDonald. Today we are looking at the case of Jeffery R. McDonald. This is one of the most litigated murder cases in American criminal history. But I have to say that I've not really looked into this case too deeply until one of our viewers had said something about it. And so now I took a better look at it, and there's a lot. There's a lot. And honestly, at the end of it, you're still gonna not know if he did it or not. Spoiler alert. It's just the evidence says he did it. The evidence says he doesn't do it. I mean, I don't know. I'm still on the fence. But we're taking a look at this case where he was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife and two daughters in February 1970 while serving as an Army Special Forces physician. So quite a lot of wrinkles in this case. This case actually was requested, like I said, by one of the dark side viewers. So I put it at the top of the pile. I got a large pile, by the way. And we'll be taking a look at it in the typical dark side fashion with logic and reason and forefront upturning every stone and the theory of this case. All right, let's get into the case on the overview. I don't know if it's going to go quick because there's a lot of information here, but let's look at the official narratives, so to speak. And this is off of the wiki, so I take that with a grain of salt. That's not one of obviously a scholarly reference, but it gives you a good idea of what's going on. And then we will do a deep dive into every aspect of this case, and I do mean every aspect of the case of Jeffery Robert McDonald, born October 12, 1943. Is an American former medical doctor of the United States, and he's an Army captain who was convicted in August of 1979 of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 daughters in February of 1970. While serving as an Army Force Specialist physician, McDonald has always proclaimed his innocence of the murders, which claims that it was committed by 4 intruders, 3 males and 1 female. He was very specific on who entered the unlocked rear door of his apartment at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. If you don't know, I'm originally from North Carolina, grew up there, raised 31 years, and joined the military. But attacked him and his wife and children with instruments such as, excuse me, knives, clubs, and ice picks. Let that sink in. How many times do you ever hear that someone breaks into a house and uses ice picks? But anyway, see, we're already off to a start that's got a lot of specificity. I tried. How often, either in false or true cases, or where the perpetrator or multiple perpetrators said to be using ice picks. Clubs, you hear that. But ice picks, how often do people use ice picks to carry out attacks on families? I mean, this is dark stuff if true. And the other thing that I'm going to mention right now is this guy was a military officer. So not just any, I mean, he's clearly has some kind of level of discipline, physical and mental. So coercing a false confession out of this individual is going to be a difficult task to complete. Okay, let's continue with the prosecutors and the appellate courts. They have appointed to strong physical evidence attesting to his guilt. He is currently incarcerated at the Federal Correction Institution in Cumberland, Maryland. The McDonald murder case remains one of the most litigated murder cases in American criminal history. The early life of Jeffery McDonald, he was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York, the second of 3 children born to Robert and Dorothy McDonald. He was raised in a poor household on Long Island with a disciplinarian father who, although nonviolent towards his wife or children, demanded obedience and achievement from his family. McDonald attended Patchcue Medford High School, where he became president of the student council. He was voted most popular and most likely to succeed by his fellow students and was king of the senior prom. So he was quite the overachiever Here, towards the end of the 8th grade year, McDonald became acquainted with Colette Kathleen Stevenson. Just a little side note. When she was buried, they had her last name as McDonald, but they switched the kids and her last name back to Stevenson. He would later recollect that he first observed Colette walking down the hallway with her best friend, and although he was attracted to both girls, he found Colette more attractive. Approximately 2 weeks later, they began talking and formed the friendship with McDonald, soon asking her out to the movies, and the two formed a relationship. In the 9th grade, McDonald later recollecting, it'll be one of them days, that they fell in love while holding hands on a balcony while watching the movie A Summer Place at the Rialto Theater in Pachacu. He would later reminisce that whenever he and Colette heard the song theme from Summer Place across the airways, either of them would turn up the radio and following the song while visiting a friend on Fire Island. Colette announced to Donald their relationship was over. He later formed a relationship with a girl named Penny Wells. A scholarship and marriage. McDonald's high school grades were sufficient for him to earn a 3-year scholarship at Princeton University, where he enrolled in as pre-med student in '62. By the second year of his studies, he and Will separated and resumed his romantic relationship with Colette, then a freshman at Skidmore College in Sarasota Springs. He would later recollect Colette had grown into a shy young woman with a slight fear of the world. In general, who would rely on him for his self-confidence. McDonald found her timidly touching, and gradually viewed herself as a protector. In addition to her boyfriend, it's just curious how she was grown into a shy young woman. What made her that way? Like the previous boyfriend, what went on. Um, Although McDonald was dating other women at the time, he resolved to marry Colette upon learning she was pregnant with his child in August of '63. She in turn left college to raise their children. With the consent of Colette's family, the two married September 14th in New York City. 100 people attended the service, with the reception held on Fifth Avenue Hotel. The couple then had the honeymoon at Cape Cod, where their first daughter, Catherine, was born on April 18th, 1964. Medical school. Upon completion of his undergrad degree at Princeton, McDonald briefly worked as construction supervisor before he moved in with his wife and child in Chicago in 1965, where he was then accepted at Northwestern University Medical School. For the couple moved into a small one-bedroom apartment. He was committed to maintaining the household and raising their daughters, because they had another daughter afterwards. Look at the babies. That was their apartment. This over here would be another apartment, and this would be theirs. It probably is a door over here. I think you see the top there. On army bases, they have houses, apartments, all that stuff. This is a diagram of where the bodies were and everything, and I apologize for the like the blurriness of it. I do have a better picture coming up, but this gives you a general idea of stuff. This is where the smallest child was, the oldest child, and she was pregnant with their first son. She was laying this way, and he was laying on top of her, the husband. I wish I had like a diagram where I could go inside the house here. But this is all I could find. It's like the back of the house, or either the front of the house. Now this right here, this is very important because this is the kind of drawing that I would do. You know, the stick figures. This right here is horrible. This is the ones that he said that he thought was the suspects, the perpetrators. Okay, just a little backstory. McDonald and Colette vacationed in Aruba before McDonald joined the U.S. Army, the best branch. McDonald was commissioned in the U.S. Army June 28th of 69 and sent to Fort Sam, Houston, Texas. Woo-hoo. To undergo a 6-week positions basic training course while Fort Sam, Houston. He volunteered and signed up for the Special Forces, the Green Berets, to become Special Forces physicians. He was assigned to Fort Benning, Georgia, where he completed their paratrooper training. Although McDonald thought that, when he signed up that he'd be deployed to Vietnam, he later learned that as a Green Beret doctor, he was unlikely to serve overseas, and again was not going down not to go down like the dark side conspiracy theory. But however, it's curious whether not McDonald could have been part of some kind of MK Ultra precursor, or something of that nature, like the Phoenix program. I say that because why would a Green Beret doctor not be deployed? Now, I was in the military, but I'm not, I don't know everything about the military. So if anybody out there listening does know why they would not deploy a Green Beret doctor to Vietnam, please let me know. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I just don't know. But the Phoenix program, where supposedly Jeffrey Dahmer and other serial killers may have been connected, in some fashion to brainwash or mind control experiments conducted upon them, at which they may have been compelled to snap or kill, either by design or pulling strings, or just some kind of psychotic break with reality that caused them to lash out. So we will, of course, examine the theory as well, but we're going to jump back into where they went. And now I skipped a bunch of all their moves. These people moved a lot, and this is before the military. But he got stationed, again, dealing with some kind of military overlap here. Fort Bragg in late August, McDonald reported to the 3rd Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to serve as a group of a sergeant. He was joined by his wife and children, and the McDonald family resided in 554 Castle Drive in the section of the base reserved for married officers. And he was an officer because he got college. And afforded security by military police. The couple quickly became popular among the neighbors, although McDonald and Colette are known to have argued occasionally, not all the time, not ever, because you hear that sometimes, oh, they never argued, or they argued all the time. That's actually a curious point that there, because in a lot of cases, the account says, like I said, either they were the perfect family, the picture perfect family, or either they argued a lot and they were troubled. Here we have the account of where they were just casually arguing, which some seem to deem in a perfectly average category. By the time the McDonald's, every time I say that, I think of the McDonald's restaurant on Fat Ass, moved into their new apartment at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, that had acquired 2 years of studies with aspirations, accrued 2 years of studies with aspirations to update the bachelor's degree in English literature and teach part-time. Both daughters have developed distinctive personalities. Kimberly was marked feminine, intelligent, and Kristen was a boisterous tomboy who would run over and crack somebody if she observed her older sister being bullied by other children. I gotta take a drink. December 10th, the 3rd Specialist Group was deactivated and McDonald was transferred to the base headquarters. Of course he was. And headquarters, Company 6 Special Forces Groups, 1st Special Force Groups to serve as the preventive medical officer shortly before Christmas in 1969, was right approximately 3 months. Colette was approximately 3 months pregnant with their 3rd child and their 1st son. McDonald brought his daughters a pony, and they named it Shetland, and anticipating the family would soon relocate to a farm in Connecticut. I mean, these people get around more than like rich people. He had purchased the house in secret from his wife and children. His stepfather-in-law drove them to the stable as a surprise on Christmas Day to show the children their horse. Now they named it Trooper. Maybe Shetland is the type of pony. Shetland pony, yeah. I'm not a horse person. But they loved it. And I'm trying to skip some stuff here. Their son was due in July, and her family would complete by 1970. McDonald had earned his rank of captain. He was planning to study advanced medical training at Yale University upon completion of his tour of duty as a Greenbrier doctor at Yale. This has shades of skull and bones, but we'll not get into that right now. Certain patterns here that are not present in the majority of McDonald, in the majority of cases. So just another curiosity. It is odd that he went to Princeton and then Yale. I'm trying to, okay, here we go. Trying to get to where we need to be. February 16th to 17th, 1970. February, let me do some adding here. February, March, April, May, June, July. Because I was like, the baby's born in July. Could this be Chris Watts? Could this be what's that guy, Scott Peterson case? You know, where, oh God, another kid, don't want this. Because he was an adulterer. I don't know if she knew that or not, but I don't know if a lot of people know it or not. Sorry about my chair. McDonald took his two daughters to feed and ride the Christmas pony he had bought them, and the trio then returned home about 5:45 p.m. McDonald then showered and changed into an old pair of blue pajamas. After the family ate supper, Colette left the household to attend evening classes, teaching classes at Fort Bragg, North Carolina University Extension. According to McDonald, he then played horsey, allowing his daughters to ride upon his back as if he was the Shetland pony for a short period of time. And then he put Kristen to bed approximately 7 o'clock as Kimberly played a game on the coffee table. And then he slept for about an hour before watching Kimberly's favorite show, which was Lafayette. Some of you might not be old enough to remember that, but it was a good show with her before his older daughter also went to bed. Colette herself returned home about 9:40. Then the two sat on the couch watching TV together before Colette decided to go to bed midway through the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. McDonald had himself fell asleep in the living room in the early hours of the following day. The murders happened at 3:42 a.m., February 17th, 1970. Dispatchers at Fort Bragg received an emergency phone call from the McDonald household with faintly spoken to the receiver, quote, help, 544 Castle Drive stabbing. 544 Castle Drive stabbing. Hurry, end quote. The operator then heard the sound of the receiver clattering against the wall or floor. With in 10 minutes, responding military police arrived at the address, initially believing that they were responding to a domestic disturbance. They found the front door closed and locked. And the house was dark inside with no one entering the door. They circled around to the back of the house where a police sergeant discovered the back screen door closed and unlocked and the back door wide open. Upon entering, the sergeant walked into the master bedroom before running to the front of the house, shouting to tell to get Womack ASAP. Excuse me. Colette McDonald was discovered sprawled on the floor of the master bedroom. She laid on her back with one eye open and one breast exposed. She had been repeatedly clubbed around her body with both her forearms, later found to be broken by the pathologist, who would note that these wounds had been inflicted as she had raised her arm to protect her face. In addition, she had been stabbed 21 times in the chest with the ice pick and 16 times around the neck and chest with the knife, excuse me, with her trachea severed in 2 places, a bloodied and torrent pajama top, excuse me, was draped over her chest as the paring knife lay beside of her body. Beside her, Jeffery McDonald was found laying face down, alive but wounded, his head on Colette's chest, and one arm around her neck. You know, I think that he did this so that his blood was all over, like their blood mixed, and like around her neck. He had his arm around her neck and he was laying on her chest. And I think that he was trying to do that. If he did it, allegedly, if he did it, that way, no matter where the blood was, they couldn't tell. Because this ain't like, oh, you pick somebody up and held them and there would be a certain stain or something like this. He was laying, on her. As military personnel approached, he whispered to go check on his kids, that he had heard the kids crying. 5-year-old Kimberly was found in her bed, having been repeatedly bludgeoned about the head and body and stabbed in the neck with a knife between 8 and 10 times. She lay on her side. Her skull was fractured from at least 2 blows to the right side of her head, and one wound to her face has caused her cheekbone to protrude through the skin. The wounds inflicted, trigger warning, inflicted to Kimberly's head were sufficiently severe in nature to have caused bruising to her brain, coma, death soon after. The infliction across the hallway, 2-year-old Christian was found in her own bed, lying on her left side with a baby bottle close to her mouth. She was stabbed 33 times across the chest and neck, hands, and back. I think that she tried to fight back with a knife, and 15 times, I don't know that though, 15 times with the ice pick. I mean, this is insane. I've never heard of a case where there is this level of damage inflicted upon children. These 2, young girls have knife wounds that penetrated their heart with the ice pick, wounds that were noted to be shallow. The injuries to her hands were like defense wounds. On the headboard of the McDonald's marital bed, the word PIG was written in 8-inch capital letters, that turned out to be Colette's blood. I looked at the pictures of the crime scene with the bodies there. The youngest had the baby bottle right at her mouth, like she fell asleep and it just fell out. And she was laying there. Both children looked like that they didn't even know, they didn't wake up. And later on, he's going to say that he tried to resuscitate them. If he tried to resuscitate them, they should have been on their back and their head a certain way, and on the floor. And these children were laying in the bed. One was sideways with the bottle, and then the other one was kind of on her back, but a little sideways with her hand through up on the pillow. And Colette was on the floor. I mean, he could have resuscitated her, but if she went to bed, you'll see what I'm saying here in a minute. That's the suspects. That's the word. You notice that's the only blood on the bed. You'd think if she was in bed that there would be a great amount of blood there. But this is where she was found, laying this way. Look at that. There's practically none on the bed. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. And the fact this is pulled right here, it looks like if somebody tried to attack her, the bed would have been messed up. See, this is a different picture of it, so I don't know. There was a bloody footprint. They, I don't think it was the suspects. Let's put it that way. This is where he had fell asleep on the couch. I got a better picture coming up, but this little table right here is the only thing turned over. And there's a potted plant right here. And this is the pot for it that's setting up. And ambulance driver did set that up, but still, I mean, if you're fighting for your life and there's 4 people, it looks to me like there would have been more of a ruckus in that room. I know you come at me wanting to try to kill me. The room's gonna show, something. And I don't even see blood in here. I don't know if he said that he was stabbed in here or not, but I don't even see blood. These were the sheets and the bedspread. There's a better picture. This is the only thing that was going on in that room, right? Because the woman stand over supposedly holding a candle, doing some sort of chant. But this is the only thing that 3 men attacked him and this got knocked over. I don't know. This is the blood on the wall. They think Colette went into the little girl's room, the littlest, to try to throw her body over the baby to save her. This is him when he got arrested. And this woman here, Miss Stokely, Okay, before we get to her, whenever they got to Jeffrey, he said up and exclaimed, Jesus Christ, look at my wife. I'm going to kill those GD acid heads, end quote. He was immediately taken to the Warmick Hospital. I thought it was supposed to read, shouting, let me see my kids, as they carried him out of his home on a stretcher. McDonald's account, taken to a Walmart Army Medical Center, medical staff discovered the wounds to McDonald he had suffered were much less numerous and severe as those inflicted upon his wife and children. He had suffered cuts and bruises and fingernail scratches on his face and chest, although none of the wounds were life-threatening or required stitching. Okay, now to me, fingernail scratches. Now, it says the woman stood there and done a chant and all this. So where did these fingernail scratches come from? Not that a man wouldn't do that, but it just seems odd to me. And where was his shirt? No, he never mentioned. I thought he put on pajamas. I mean, he could have took it off, but still. Let me try to get down to. They took DNA from underneath the fingernails to see whether McDonald was only found to have a mild concussion, a single stab wound between two ribs on his right side torso. And he kept telling them that they're going to have to do something to his lungs to relieve the pressure and stuff because he had been stabbed in them. Because you can run a tube in there if somebody gets stabbed in a lung and it collapses. But that's another story. Okay, and then he goes over his story again about 2 a.m. February 17th. He had washed the evening's dinner dishes before he is deciding to go to bed about 2. And they already put his daughters down. And oh, hold on a second. I think I seen 2 rabbits hop through the yard. Something, 2 of them hopped through the yard. Maybe it's aliens. Maybe it was aliens. Who knows? Okay, he said that the people had came in. He's asking them, "Why are you doing this?" And so it was 3 males, 1 black, 2 white. The shorter of the 2 white men wore lightweight possible surgical gloves. 1/4, the intruder he had described as a white female with long blonde hair, possibly a wig, and wearing high heel knee boots and a white floppy hat, partially covering her face. Now let's dissect that. Okay, we're going to get to this too, but I want to bring it up now. There was an Esquire magazine that he had in his home that had the Manson murders. He's calling these people acid eating. Acid eating people usually trip and they don't do things like this. Not saying they wouldn't, just saying they usually don't. This is more of a meth head type thing. And by the way, he was on some kind of weight loss pills that was the effective of meth, that way he could stay fit for the military. But that's here or there. And neither here or there, sorry. But she wore high heel boots to a murder. That they don't make sense. Who does that? Who does that? There's a white fluffy hat. I don't know. I mean, that could be to conceal a face, but if you're killing everybody and you just pick this house, I don't know. It seems like there's something weird going on, the killing spree, wearing high heels. Um, and said that she stood nearby holding a lighted candle, chanting in the quote, acid is groovy, kill the pigs, end quote. McDonald claimed that the three males attacked him with club and ice pick, while the female intruder shouted, hit him again. During the struggle, his pajama top was pulled over his head to his waist, and he used that garment to try to fend them off with the ice pick. He was seriously trained in like a lot of fighting skills, different types. So this is plausible that he did wrap it around his arm to try to fight them off with it. But I don't know. It's I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna give you a little bit. Let's look at the pictures real quick. Her name is. I know it better than Stokely. Plain Stokely, I think. I'll get it in a minute. That's him going to court. This is his first lawyer. In addition to stabbing the puncher that punctured I'm sorry, had to take a phone call. In addition to the stabbing that punctured McDonald's lung, fatal justice lists as a knife wound that went through McDonald's bicep, puncture wounds to his arm, 2 cuts to his hand, and 4 or 5 ice pick wounds to his chest, 2 knife wounds to his abdomen, and several ice pick wounds to his abdomen. This was his second wife. Now, he got married a long time after his first wife died. This wasn't like 8 months later or nothing like that. He got married a long time afterwards. The case, like we said, talks about the pregnant wife, 5-year-old daughter, the people got stabbed. McDonald was convicted in 1979 on the murders based solely on circumstantial evidence. And this goes over when everything happened, 342. They were dispatched to his house about the stabbing. And then it tells the wounds that Colette had, the ones that Kimberly had, the ones that Kristen had, and that they seem to be a happy family. I mean, by all accounts, you know, that the picture perfect family is what a lot of people said. And this is just describing the male intruders. He described the male intruders as 1 black person, 2 white persons, and 1 female. Of course, the other ones were male. And he described 1 as tall, 1 as short, and you know, like it was all like it was detailed stuff, and it just that seemed odd to me. And I don't know if I put it in here. Helena Stokely. Let's read about Miss Stokely. That's the woman in the situation here. Helena Stokely was proven to be in the McDonald home as the woman with the long blonde hair Jeffery McDonald described. Blonde synthetic wig hairs, 22 inches in length, were found on the table near the living room where McDonald said he saw the blonde female, and near the phone where Stokely had answered. These wig hairs would have been crucial to McDonald's defense. Army investigator William Ivory knew Helena Stokely wore a blonde wig which matched the descriptions given by McDonald and the MP Kenneth Micah, but did not reveal the presence of the long blonde hairs at the crime scene. Psychologically impossible for him to kill his family. I mean, I don't know. And then there was black fibers found all over Colette's mouth, the bed. They think that it was something used to muffle her from screaming. And there was a palm print that didn't match anybody in the house. Then there's the picture of the bed. There's no motive to this day. There's still no motive of why he would have murdered them. I mean, like I said, the evidence proves he did it. The evidence proves he didn't do it. Her motive, Stokely and the other man described by McDonald, had a logical motive. McDonald was going to file complaints about their drug usage, so they decided to camp out near his home, threatening him against filing these complaints. It was also said that she said they would have to have other murders, additional murders before they could get married, kind of implying that they had already committed some. She has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend looks like one of the drawings. Helena Stokely died in 1983 at a young age due to drug usage. She was a prime suspect in the case and arguably not investigated well enough in her interviews. In recent years, her still living mother has released evidence placing Stokely at the crime scene with her boyfriend and 2 other men, all high on drugs. The mother has stated that Helena told her that the men murdered the McDonalds before she died, and her mother released the information stating McDonald does not deserve to be here. Biased judge, that kind of speaks for itself. And then the conclusion is, after appeals, all this stuff, it's still, I don't know. Okay. The Army charges McDonald with 3 counts of murder. Citing insufficient evidence, the Army dismisses the charges against McDonald. This was October 23, 1970. Colette's parents were convinced that he did it, so they petitioned the federal government, federal court, to have a grand jury to investigate the case. August 12th, 1974, the grand jury convenes. The grand jury indicts McDonald on the 24th of January. July 19th through July 29th, 1979, McDonald is tried in federal court in Raleigh. He's convicted of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. He is sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. Consecutive means they will run at one after another. Concurrent means that they run together. June 5th, 2005, the U.S. Parole Commission denies him parole. August 7th, 2019, the U.S. Supreme Court declines to take McDonald's case. Now, there's been more cases like the appeals, and then it was overturned at one time and he got out of jail because apparently there was like a statute of limitations going on or something with that. And from the time of the military ending the case to the civilians taking the case, he didn't have a right to a speedy trial. So that was one of the issues, and just a bunch of mess. A bunch of mess. It's what it is. It's like real life. Okay. Just scrolling through some stuff. I wonder if he had maybe a psychological issue. This is the MPs at the House, the MPs. I don't know who these people are. This is showing the House, and that they would have to win their own back, more than likely that way. Again, there's the overturned table. I mean, it's not even squished. You would think somebody would have, I don't know. With 3 people attacking you, might not be able to. Be sure to like, and subscribe. Okay. Now. Let's look at some more stuff. Okay. This is the Article 32. In the military, they have different articles. Article 15. There's just a lot of different articles. And he got Article 32 hearing. So if you would like to go through there, It's crimearchives.net, and it will be 1979 _ McDonald / Article 32 / Article 32 .html. And it gives you everything. And this is all the evidence. I am going to just scroll down through it slowly so you can stop and read it. Because I have read a lot. Okay. Trying to figure out. I'm pretty sure he's still in jail. If you found this interesting, you can leave a like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, suggestions, theories, feel free to leave it in the comment section along with rebuttals, debunking, or any kind of possible new or undiscussed evidence. And like always, I'll take a logical look at it and give you feedback on it. And always give me feedback on my videos. I appreciate your time. And as always, I will see you later. Bye.